Welcome back. Elsewhere in Africa, President Roch Marc Kabore of Burkina Faso has asked all citizens to promote religious harmony as Muslims in the country celebrated Eid al-Fitr. Burkina Faso also faces the spread of Islamist militancy from neighboring Mali.
Burkina Faso's President Roch Marc Kabore brings Muslims and Christian leaders together for an interfaith feast as part of efforts to promote unity and tolerance in the country. Members of both faiths were invited to the presidential palace in the capital, Ouagadougou, both speaking about peaceful coexistence between the two religions. Muslims make up 60% of the population, while Christians make up 23%. The occasion is part of efforts to increase inter-religious dialogue in Burkina Faso, especially in the face of growing extremism. President Kabore urged participants to preserve religious balance.
Dire que, comme vous le savez, saluer également la communauté.
I wanted to also honor the Muslim community as a whole for fighting against religious intolerance. It's very important, and I wanted to ask them to preserve in their work to educate other Muslims on what religion really is and what Islam really is. It is a religion of tolerance and peace. It's not a religion of violence, which today has torn apart certain countries. I want to thank God and want for this to last. We want to be spared here in Burkina Faso of these changes that have caused problems in many countries.
Burkina Faso is grappling with insecurity as Islamist insurgency spreads from neighboring Mali. A 2016 Al-Qaeda attack on a hotel in Ouagadougou killed dozens, and recent months have seen an increase in rural attacks claimed by a new homegrown group called Ansar-ul-Islam. The leader spoke of a long history of religious harmony and tolerance that exists between its Muslim and Christian communities.
We are here to fulfill our spiritual duties and also to celebrate the fact that as Burkinabés, we can come together despite our religious differences and be able to see what God can do.
Landlocked Burkina Faso produces cotton and gold but remains impoverished. The economy has slowed due to lower global commodity prices and reduced investments during the democratic transition that began after the fall of former long-time President Blaise Compaoré in 2014.
11 days after President Uhuru Kenyatta inspected a bridge under construction, Kenyan media is reporting that the bridge has collapsed. The Kenyan Standard says the bridge was built over the river Nzoia in western Kenya. It adds that the bridge was meant to open in July. It's unclear why the bridge collapsed or whether anyone was hurt in the incident. Let's get more on this. Kenyan journalist Teddy Otieno joins us now from Nairobi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening. What more can you tell us about this bridge collapse, and is there any controversy surrounding it?
Well, indeed, the bridge is said to have collapsed last night because as workers were going on with the construction. They do report, they give eyewitness accounts that most of them were just going about, the usual duties, just clearing material up the bridge, down, and then within a split second, the bridge went down. So they are saying they don't really know what's going on. But then, of course, the principal secretary, the permanent secretary of this particular, the ministry involved, that's the construction ministry, is already saying that engineers have been sent to probe the collapse of this particular bridge. But then it's saying that investigative agencies have already ruled out possible foul play in the particular incident. But then the opposition is key on pressing harder just to ensure that the government does not go away with this easily. The opposition chief, Raila Odinga, exactly told the president to take responsibility for the collapse of the bridge because it actually cost up to 1.2 billion shillings.
Are there likely to be investigations into this, whether maybe the contractor was cutting corners and probably the quality of materials used, was not good enough?
Yes, indeed. There has to be a due process has to be followed in this particular case. Do remember that Kenya is only about 40 days away from the election. It will be important to the government just to ensure that they tell the electorate, this is what happened, this is how your money is used, and it is high time that actually take accountability to a higher level and just ensure that this does not just go under the bridge, if I may use that phrase in this particular context. But then again, the principles that you mentioned earlier, the investigative agencies have communicated to him. They ruled out any possible foul play, but then again, mounting pressure from the opposition, trust me, this one is not just going to go the other way. They have to counter it. So there is a possibility.
Were there any casualties recorded in this incident, Teddy?
Well, 10 people were injured following the incident. They were rushed to nearby hospital because, it wasn't something that just happened out of the blues, because some were actually able to notice the bridge tumbling down, and then they had to just jump over. And then again, 10 were injured. They were rushed to hospital. They still hospitalized, speaking, and they're receiving treatment. And for us, by tomorrow, we'll be able to get a clearer update. But as of now, 10 people were injured in the incident.
You did say earlier that about 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings was spent on this particular infrastructure. I can imagine that's a lot of money in Kenya. Mm-hmm. What are the citizens saying about all this money just going to a waste? Was there a rush to complete this just before the elections?
Well, there is rage on social media if you just stop there. When it comes to the just talking to the locals around Nairobi, I had a conversation with some of them, and people are expressing rage out here because they say this is not the first time that such a thing is happening. This is taxpayers' money that is being wasted, and some actually calling on the president to come out clean on this particular matter. We do remember that 11 days ago, the president and his deputy were in that particular area. They commissioned the construction of that particular bridge. So Kenyans are not reading anything loud in that matter. So they're saying, you know what, 1.2 billion shillings is a lot of money. It can support the project, and this is coming, in this particular way, does not sit well with many Kenyans.
Thank you for your thoughts on that, Teddy Otieno, speaking to us live from Nairobi, Kenya. Well, that's Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.